Okay, I'm going to do a little quick review about the sign. It happened in the 9th of Av in 586 BC when the first temple was destroyed. It happened in 9th of Av in 70 AD when the second temple was destroyed. But it did not happen with Jupiter being born. In 2017 it will happen with Jupiter being born. I'm going to go quickly through all this. If my computer will go quickly. There you can see the sign was kind of coming up. We can also perhaps, based on the, you can see pan-Arab colors of the horsemen. This kind of leads us to the Middle East. Go back to see the other videos you want to see about that. As the times of Noah were, there were giants, so this is how the end of the end times be. Might be genetic modification going on. We've got went over Ron Wyatt and a little bit of what he thinks the what did I do there? What he thinks the Noah's Ark was. I got a little bit into that. I talked about watching and praying, so that we are worthy to escape all things that are about to come to pass. I have no idea what a mess is. I've got so many pictures and messes here. This is that mosque that's being built. So anyways, I went over a little bit of that. I went a little bit of a stupid joke. Watch and pray, watch and pray, watch and pray, watch and pray, watch and pray. There's my dumb joke. I mean, don't just go stick your head out. Don't just look at the sky. We've got to watch for prophecies and for fulfillments and signs in the stars. Because remember, Genesis 1:14, God put the signs up there for us on purpose. And this is my joke, and that's my fixed slide. Okay, quickly, I'll try to go through this. He set a tabernacle for the sun and the zodiac. You can see that in the other videos. That's the scripture. Okay, so now we have the sign of the woman. This is what we'd see if we could turn the sun off. We'd see the stars behind the sun, and we'd have the 9 stars in Leo, and then we have the 12 stars when we add 3 planets. Then they get the garland over her head. She's clothed with the sun. There's the sun. The moon's at her feet, and Jupiter has just been born. Now this is the 23rd of 2017, but Jupiter is actually born on the 9th of 2017, of September 2017, and that happens to be the closing time of Yom Teruah. So here we go. The sun's turned on. We can't see anything now. So, alrighty, my wonderful graphics, aren't they great? So anyway, so there's she's being born. This is Stellarium. You can always get this and check this out on Stellarium. So now we're going to get into the good stuff today. As soon as I get through this, because I zipped down, I talked a little bit about how the zodiac may actually correlate to the beast, which correlate to the 4 horsemen, which may be able to tell you when the 4 horsemen are being called out in the apocalypse. So, when the seals are being opened. Okay, and I don't believe the seals have been opened yet, because it does say before the seals are opened that everyone under the earth and above the earth and everything worship the Lamb. I don't think that's ever happened, and you'll find that just before the first seal is opened that everyone's worshiping the Lamb. And I don't think everyone under the earth has worshipped the Lamb and all in the sea and everywhere, so that's something to look at. A lot of people say the seal's already open. I don't think so. Unless I can come up with an explanation for that. I don't know what I'm doing here. I got Gad going and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we're moving on. See, never mind, I'm not going to get it. I already talked about that a little bit. So, and I never did complete everything I wanted to do when I was making these slides. As you can see, I got 400 and some odd. 5 is actually close to 600. But, and then I talked a little bit about the my trip in the car, and 440 showing up, and you'll have to go back and see that at 777.7 miles, and God's been talking to me through numbers. And there's your 440, if the computer will pop it up. I've already selected it, but the computer can't show it because the computer's slow. Okay, there it is. So 440, and that was on the clock. You have to go back to the other video if you want to see that. Alright, and then we got the, now we're just going to show you kind of some, maybe, we'll show you how this kind of looks from outer space, give you a 3-dimensional picture in your mind of what's going on. And if the computer will work, you can see there's the planets, there's the sun, Virgo and the stars are in the background. That's the Virgin, it could be Mary, it could also mean Israel. Anyway, so there's the layout of the planets. You can see that the Sun is in between the Earth and Jupiter. Okay? They're going in different directions. Jupiter's going a that way, we're going that way, okay? So, alright. Of course, the moon's going with us. Alright, so, here we are, here we are, here we are. This is what it looks like when Jupiter, when I measure this alignment I'm going to show you, is when Jupiter gets just across the line. Okay. Alright, so, and it took some really getting nitpicky about trying to measure this. It was hard to get these numbers. Okay, so if you look down at it from the top of the solar system looking down, you can see the Earth in there, and you can see Jupiter and how Jupiter's flying through Virgo and we're going the other way. And we are traveling at 66,622 miles per hour, and roughly, and Jupiter is going 29,217 miles per hour on average, and 2017 is like the year 2017 if you were to drop the 0 out of 2017. Alright, so okay, so we have a 666 and the number is 66,622, which is the number of a man. So that's the number of Earth. I talked about how fast it's going. It's going 79,483 miles per hour as we go through there. It takes exactly 6 minutes for us to go through this alignment if you include the troposphere. That's 22 miles per second. And I talk about the atmosphere and the troposphere and where the weather happens and all that. And then I get into the speed and compare it to bullets and how bullets are slow compared to the speed. And there we go. Now we're into new material. Okay. Not really new, but the same thing. Now that you've got a three-dimensional image in your mind of how this shapes up, we can watch this cool animation. See the Earth moving? Wow! Okay, and then at some point, the Earth is going to go ka-ching at what time? Okay, on September 9th, 2017, at 10 a.m. and 57 seconds, Universal Coordinated Time. That's where Jupiter will be. Right, just cross the line. Remember, it's going, well, I don't know if the camera will make it look right, but it's going from right to left. We're going left to right. Alright, and Jupiter can represent the king planet and be the king, who's the king of kings. There's so much to this, I never will be able to tell you everything. Okay, so when it crosses this point that we're looking at on Earth, that is where Istanbul, Turkey is. Okay? On the other side of the Earth. Obviously, you're looking at the U.S. side. We got the U.S. side here. And if we cross over, we got Turkey over here. So we're just cutting it. I say Turkey. Cutting a turkey. Okay. Alright, so Istanbul, Turkey is on the other side of the Earth when it gets to the U.S. And what's important about this location in the U.S. is this is Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston, South Carolina is where the eclipse that happens, I don't remember, what was it, 23 days ahead of? I'm calculating in my head. The 21st to the 9th, 21st of August to the 9th of September. How many days is that? That might be 23rd. I don't know. I think it is. One moment, please. Okay, it's actually 19 days. I guess if you include that date as 20, and the time is 11:19. Okay. So anyways, yeah, so it's 19 days. I don't know why I thought it was 23. I think there was something, I don't remember, but anyways, doesn't matter. So we'll go back to what we were doing. Alright, so when this alignment happens in Istanbul, Turkey, speaking of time, what time is it in Turkey? Now you got to think about this alignment. The last time this alignment happened, where Jupiter was in the womb of Virgo for a gestation period of 9 months, 10 months, was in 3915 BC. Or you could say 3914 BC if you use Tellurium, because think it was August 5th, and that I got that from Discover Ministries from Australia. I forgot the guy's name, but anyways, so look up Discover Ministries on YouTube, and there's a preacher there who talks about these sort of things. Anyways, so so sorry, his name is Steve something, I forgot. But anyway, so he talks about the last time the sign happened in Virgo was in 3915, and Stellarium I found it at 3914. I think it's August 5th in Stellarium at 3914 BC. And this he thinks is probably maybe the time of the fall when Adam and Eve fell, and God said, I'll put enmity between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. Maybe we're going to see that take place here if the Antichrist shows up in Istanbul, Turkey. Let's get to that. Okay, so when this alignment happens, how fast is it going by? 22 miles per second. That's a lot faster than a bullet, right? A lot faster. So we got something going by, okay? And we have something else that's happening at the same time, which is a separate system. And this system only happens once in the last 7,000 years or whatever, 6,000 years, because we've gone to look to 1,000 years in the future, you can't see it happening 1,000 years in the future. So you can go back basically 6,000 years to almost 4,000 BC, 3915 BC. So about 6,000 years back into the past and 1,000 years into the future, that's a 7,000 year period that we pretty much have checked and haven't seen it happen except at the very beginning. So it's very rare. It's very rare, very, very rare that this sign happens with Jupiter spending 9 months in the womb. Normally Jupiter goes through in 2 months. And normally Jupiter's not even there at all. If you really get into this, it's hard to find these signs. Okay, so this is going by at 22 miles per second, and voila. When it's exactly solar noon in Istanbul, Turkey, when this alignment crosses Istanbul, Turkey. Solar noon goes by very fast. Let's consider solar noon first. I'll pass a little bit of this and come back. Solar noon at the equator is going 1,038 miles per hour around the Earth, because that's how fast the Earth is spinning. So there's the light, that's the noon, and the Earth is spinning at the equator at 1,038 miles per hour. If you're standing up at the North Pole, you're not really going very fast, you're just turning around in a circle. Okay, so at the latitude of Istanbul, Turkey, up here, you're not spinning, you don't have as far to go to get around the entire planet like you do here. We have 24,000 miles to go in 24 hours. That's 1,000 miles an hour. Not exactly, but pretty close. And at Istanbul, Turkey, to that latitude, you're doing 783 miles per hour, as you can see in the graph here. So the green line here is 1,000 miles per hour, 1,038, and then at the latitude of Istanbul, Turkey, it's 783 miles per hour. Now this jet here is doing over Mach 1, and Mach 1 is about 760 miles an hour. So if you see a fighter jet going over your city at Mach 1, it's going around 760 miles an hour. So solar noon is going faster than that jet. It's going by at 783 miles per hour at that latitude. So it's not going to hang out very long over the city of Istanbul, Turkey. And to get it to be exactly solar noon, when this is going on, this alignment when this alignment here is going on, that doesn't happen in thousands of years, and it just happens to be solar noon at Istanbul, Turkey. Well, you might say, big deal. It's going to be solar noon somewhere on planet Earth when it goes by, right? Yeah, but Istanbul, Turkey was the capital of Rome, and it was the capital of the Ottoman Empire. And if you know about the 7 heads of the dragon, which are in the 7-headed dragon, we have the first head is Egypt. That's where the Israelites came out of under Moses. Then we have the Assyrians. Then we have the Babylonians. These are different countries that occupied Israel. So Egypt, Assyrians, Babylonians, Medes and Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Ottoman Empire, which has occupied, but hasn't really occupied because they weren't in the land yet. They stopped being, the Ottoman Empire stopped being a nation, being an empire after World War I. It might be the head that had the deadly wound, but lived. There you go. And then you have the 8th, but it becomes the 8th. But it will be, if it follows the king of the north and the king of the south, if you went back and learned about the king of the north and the king of the south from Daniel chapter 11. I showed that a little bit in the first video, I think, or the second. It's been a while now. If you look at that, king of the north, king of the south thing, then you know the king of the north is coming out of Turkey. He says he's God. That sounds like an Antichrist. He's coming out of the Ottoman Empire, possibly. Think about iron mixed with clay. They don't cleave together, so you have the Romans, Holy Roman Church, or Catholic Church, are now trying to buddy up with Islam. The Pope recently has said that Islam, or the Quran, is the same as the Bible, which is not even true at all. And if you look at the history of Rome, the capital of Rome was the city of Rome for a while, but during the Byzantine Empire and for the majority of the time of Rome, the Empire of Rome, not when it's necessarily at its peak, but the Constantinople was the capital of Rome longer than Rome itself was, and Constantinople is Istanbul, Turkey. It's the same city. The crescent moon and the star that you see as a symbol for Islam, even though it's not an Islamic symbol, but it's on all their mosque and everything, that is actually, that crescent moon and star was a sign for the city of Constantinople. And when it was conquered by the Muslims, they wanted to say, okay, we're the new emperors here and of Rome, so we'll keep this symbol. And that's kind of how it came about. So, at solar noon, what are the Muslims doing? They're praying. They always pray at solar noon. And they can't do it just at noon. It has to be solar noon. Solar noon doesn't have to be exactly at 12 o'clock. It modifies back and forth a little bit based on... Okay, the Earth is consistent, and it's pretty consistent. Let's just say it's consistent. It's consistent in its speed that it rotates. But it's not always consistent in its distance from the sun. Sometimes it's closer, sometimes it's farther away, because we have an elliptical orbit. And therefore, the angle at which, and therefore the speed of the Earth going around the sun changes. When it's close to the sun, it goes faster. When it's farther away from the sun, it slows down. And that's going to change how much this planet has to turn to get back to solar noon. And so therefore we get a deviation of, 10, 20 minutes from solar noon. From noon to what solar noon is. And that's why we get that figure 8 in the sky. If you look at all these different solar energy diagrams and things, you'll see where they're trying to figure out where to put the solar panels. And so anyways, solar noon is not always at noon. And the Muslims know this. And so they have to pray at solar noon. And forgive me, I do not speak Arabic. I don't know. And here is a noon prayer. I don't even know how to say it. But it has to be when the sun passes its zenith. So solar noon is important to Muslims. So when we go back to Istanbul, Turkey, and we have something that's important to Muslims, it's exactly solar noon when this alignment's happening. Okay, in Istanbul, Turkey. And Istanbul, Turkey isn't just any old city. It is also the city of the capital of the Roman Empire, and it was the capital of Islam, or the Ottoman Empire. Iron mixed with clay in the feet. Iron mixed with clay. And also, I will show you something else. One moment here. Okay, I think I'm recording again. Yes, I am. 1923. Interesting. Okay, so I got Google Earth up. Now, this red line you see right here, that red line there is represented by two big red lines here that you can't see that look like one. And I've got some other lines on here. If I really open this thing up, I will crash the computer if I turn all my lines on. I've got I'm the line man. This thing will turn into a ball of yarn. You wouldn't believe the things that are encoded in the geography. It is like Bible code and geography code. But anyway, so these lines here are just distances I was using to try to figure things out as I mapped all this out. So this is Charleston, South Carolina. This is where the eclipse is going to come across the United States. It exits at the same point. We'll get into that later. But anyway, so here's that red line, and we're talking about the king of the north and the king of the south, and we're talking about solar noon. So we'll line this. We'll get this a little bit better here. All right. So Istanbul, Turkey is right up here, and this black line, which is supposed to be yellow, whatever, that is solar noon. Okay. Now this is the distance that this alignment at 79,000 miles an hour goes at 22 miles per second in 1 second. This is 22 miles right here. Okay. Solar noon doesn't move as fast. Okay. So you can see, now this is based on my measurements. Now, best I can do is we'll use what Stellarium can give me, and it's kind of tricky, but I was really as careful as I could be. I am going to go back and try to verify this even better. This is, you got to understand, in 2 seconds we've crossed from here to here, across the whole city. So if you think of it in a practical sense, oh, it's solar noon, let's pray. It takes me a couple seconds to get down and start praying. So even if I'm off a couple seconds, it still could be at that right moment. You know what I mean? Especially if they're naming a new caliph. Alright, so I'm going to verify these numbers. I'm pretty secure, even if they're off, they're not going to be off much. Okay, because I was real careful about it. I could go back and double check them again, and I will. But even if they're off a second. I mean, when I say they're off, I'm not talking like a minute, guys. Okay? I'm not talking like that. When I say they might be off like a second or 2 seconds or not much. I mean, so little it doesn't matter. I'm talking about maybe the Earth rotated a little bit, but when you consider something that takes only 6 minutes for the whole Earth to get through, from here to here it's only 2 minutes, and how much rotation are you going to get, and it's going to change where solar noon is a little bit. It seems significant, but it's not significant. I probably shouldn't have even mentioned this. But anyways, but that's important to make sure this is really nailed down. Okay, so these are different lines I had for different times. What are these lines? Let's click on this one, see what this says. On 9/9/2017, Jupiter will complete 9 months in Virgo. At that second, the Sun will be exactly south of this line. Okay, what did I get over here? Why did I do this? Solar noon and Jupiter's birth equilibrium. I don't know what that means. Let's measure the other one, or see what the other one is. Meridian line of solar noon at 3 and 57 seconds. Okay, solar noon, this is Pacific time, 3 a.m. Pacific time, where I live. So, that doesn't matter. So, what I guess I'm getting at is, maybe I'm splitting seconds or something. I'm not sure exactly, so that's why I want to go back and look. But what's interesting, if you look down here, you see these this red line? Let's take a look at that. This is a hill that sits in the middle of Istanbul, Turkey. And you can see the city from there and all these pretty pictures and all that sort of thing. So let's see, maybe I'll pull up a couple pictures for you. So you can see a great view from that city, from that hill. Kamlika Hill, I guess is Lika Hill is what they call it. Kamlika Hill. Sorry, I don't pronounce things very well sometimes. I got their nice big flag up there. And by the way, it's red and white, and which is the color of the first 2 horsemen, white and red. Did I say yellow and white? I mean white and red. I'm sorry. Oh, it's late, guys. Oh, by the way, it's 11:36, and you know what 36 is. Summation of 36 is 666. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9, all the way up to 36 is 666. And what am I going to show you? I'm going to show you that this contour line that I drew along here is, oops, well, maybe you can look in the bottom right hand corner of the screen here, if I can get my mouse to work. Okay, right there. What's the elevation? Look under the Google Earth. Look under the big G. What do you see down in the lower right hand corner of the screen? The elevation of that, where the hand is there, is 666 feet. Okay, remember I showed you the pictures of that mosque? This is the new mosque they're building. Okay. Oh, that's not it. These are models. Let's pick the same one. No, that's not it either. Let's try this. There you go. That's the new mosque they're building. It's going to be able to take over 36,000 people, I think it was. I don't remember, it's 60,000 or whatever. It's a lot. It's the biggest mosque in Turkey. And if I zoom in, maybe I'll get some better pictures. Any more pictures in here, guys? Come on. Oh, it's much past that stage. And that's not it. That's way past that stage. It's much further along than these pictures are showing. It's almost complete. Anyway, so we have 6,666 feet, and no, that's not it. Okay, right here. So this mosque is being built at 666 feet above sea level, and it's the biggest mosque, and it's on the hill. You can't really tell unless I exaggerate the image, and I will do that just so we can see it better. I'll crash my computer in the meantime. Okay, we have accentuated the terrain here. So there's the TV antennas are up there and everything. And this is where they're building the mosque right here. Oh, and you can see there's solar noon coming up. See the black lines here? Those are the lines, and this one's coming up at 22 miles per second. So it'll go vroom, right by. Okay, so let's back it out. I have no idea what we're looking at here. Okay, so remember the alignment is going through here. Where are we? Okay, there we are. Okay, so these are 666 feet contour lines. I did not finish that. There are other hills in the area that are 666, but and it looks like this one got turned off or something. What happened to it? What happened to my line? Oh no, I hope I didn't delete it. Oh, there it is. There's coming in. Maybe it'll show up. I got too much coming on. The computer cannot handle it. This is killing the computer. Okay, so anyways, it's at 666 feet. All of this is happening within, within a second or so. I mean, we are talking speeds that are just 700 miles. Okay, I think one of these lines here represents how far at 783 miles per hour you travel in 1 second. So we're in the zone. Put it that way. We're definitely in the city. I wouldn't be surprised if it all works out into that mosque perfectly. And maybe we just have some measurement issues. But basically, it is so close, it's amazing. So, solar noon. Let's go on down this line and see what else we find at solar noon. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, not at solar noon. Let's go down the 22 miles per second line. Okay, this line here. So we're talking in 2 seconds here. We come down to here. That's solar noon. This is the alignment with Virgo. This is just the alignment with the sun. The normal solar noon. This one is the big red line that cut the Earth, if you can remember the previous slides. Right in here we have something called the Great Pyramids. If I can get to them. So we're in Cairo, and down in here, are some pyramids. Whoops, look at that. See those big old things? Alright, so those are the pyramids. Okay, so we have the pyramids in here. And remember, we have the king of the north and the king of the south. King of the south was Egypt, Ptolemaic Empire. King of the north was the Seleucid Empire. Seleucid Empire is in the north. As far as Israel is concerned, they're north. Ptolemaic Empire is south. The king of the south. And it goes back and forth during the 6 Syrian wars. We haven't had our 7th Syrian war. It looks like we kind of are starting to. But something's going to happen between this guy and this guy. And bad tidings out of the north will trouble the king of the north, who comes out of the north, Russia. So I wouldn't be surprised if Turkey goes running through Israel. The Antichrist shows up, and once he becomes the caliph, and he reestablishes the caliphate, he's like the pope for all of Islam. So all of these countries, the 10 toes, all around here, the Pan-Arab colors, all these countries here, the Pan-Arab colors, when I talk about the 4 beasts, the 4 horsemen, if you haven't seen what I'm talking about, you have to go back to the previous videos. All these 4 horsemen here, all these colors, all these Muslims, all these Islamic people have to pay tribute to, or they're going to worship the Caliph, the new Messiah, or whatever they're coming. So their Antichrist apparently is going to be their Messiah, or their deliverer, is our Antichrist, and vice versa. And who likes to cut people's heads off? Well, we learned about in Revelation about people getting their heads cut off. We know ISIS likes to cut people's heads off. So there you go. There's a lot more on that subject. Let's get back to PowerPoint. So you think that's enough? Well, it gets better. So let's review a little bit. We have the alignment of Jupiter going through between Hezi and Spica, and this corresponds to she has the 12 stars above her head. Okay, now this is on the 9th. On the 23rd, the moon shows up at her feet. Okay, this is the 9th, when Jupiter is born. Let's go back and read the scripture. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So we got the 12 stars, 9 of them were Leo, and then 3 planets came in. That made her 12 stars. She's clothed with the sun's about over her shoulder, and the moon shows up at her feet on the 23rd. She's travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. Well, maybe she gives birth to the king planet, the king. And this is a sign in the sky. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon. Turkey has a red flag, having 7 heads. Oh, is it the 7th empire? Remember, Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medes and Persians, Greeks, Romans, Ottoman Empire. And 10 horns. 10 horns. The Caliph, the Caliphate comes into power. The Pan-Arab countries, all the Muslim countries. That could be the 10 horns that are going to follow the new Pope of Islam. Okay? Alright, so it will unite those countries because of their religion. And 7 crowns upon his head. So we have 7 heads and 7 crowns upon his head. I don't know if the crowns and the 7 crowns and the 7 heads mean basically the same thing. I'm not particularly sure. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman. Now, if we read in other parts of Scripture, we can tell that the dragon took a 3rd of the angels with him. Stars are represented as angels. If you read back further in Revelation, I don't know exactly where it was. It's Revelation 1. And I will pause this until I find it. Alright, so we're recording again? Yes.